Hey guys, welcome back to Say It With Your Chest.
Okay, so today's episode is going to be about our sorority experience.
Yeah, this is a really exciting episode because we actually did some planning with this one because we wanted to touch on all the topics that we wanted to without going too crazy all over the place.
We had to do some planning. And then at the end, we're going to share some recruitment secrets for you guys that are going through recruitment or going through recruitment next semester. Just some things you may want to know.
Yeah, it's perfect timing because rush is like happening now.
Yeah. Okay, first we're just going to talk about some things that happened this week, and then we'll get into all the sorority stuff. So first things first is...
What do we got on the list?
After we talked about our adulting and how it's always one problem after another.
Oh my god. I kind of forgot that we were talking about this.
We end the podcast. We, get ready for bed. What does Hannah see in the kitchen? A fucking mouse.
Okay, so basically what happened was we just finished filming our last episode. We shut the computer. We're getting ready for nighttime.
Yep.
Jess's door is closed. Like, we're going to sleep. And I go out to throw something in the garbage, and I see a little, like, it's a baby mouse underneath our oven.
Disgusting.
And it's just, like, crazy the timing of it because we were literally just talking about Jess's experience last year in her apartment on how, like, she had a mouse and it was a traumatizing experience. And it's just crazy because I've never seen any critters in this apartment ever. And I thought that I was hallucinating. I didn't believe what I saw. So I went to Jess's room. I said, Jess.
The second she said my name, I was like, that girl just saw a mouse.
Yeah.
I knew it.
You can tell by the tone of voice. Yeah. But honestly, surprisingly, Jess was really calm. I mean, she cried a little at first, but like, surprisingly, you did a little better than I thought.
Okay, here's the thing that I think is with me. I feel like since you're an older sister too, but like,
yeah. I kill all the bugs though. Like, I'm okay with this stuff.
Yeah. But I feel like the older sister in me is like, when there's a problem and like when you started freaking out too, I just go into like problem solving mode.
Yeah. I don't really have, like, I'm an older sister, but I don't really have that problem setting, like, solving mindset.
Yeah.
I need to like process it for a second and like then realize that no one else is gonna fix it for me, and then I can like focus on it. Yeah. But like, the mouse crawled back under the oven. It was like not seen again, so we kind of were like, and it was like it was like
10:30.
It was 10:30, 11 o'clock at this point, so there was not really much we could do. So I was like, Jess, let's just go to sleep. We'll figure it out in the morning. Don't worry. So then I'm in my room and I'm just watching TV. My lights are on. I sit up for a second and I see the little mouse crawling from my room, like in my room, out the door. Like, not in, but out the door. And that's when I lost it. I just started hysterically crying because it's one thing for it to be in the kitchen, but it's another thing for it to be like in my room. And then I was like, I can't sleep like this knowing that it could get into my room. I shoved a sweatshirt underneath my door as well. So that wasn't able to like stop it from coming in. And so I was just hysterically crying. Yeah. And then I texted Jess and I was like, it was in my room. And then,
I was like, get the fuck in here right now.
And then I like ran like top speed into Jess's bedroom. And then we were both kind of just crying. Yeah. It was like a really funny sight if like it wasn't these circumstances. I was crying, but then I was laughing because of how like silly, it wasn't silly, but like how funny
looking back. Looking back. And then we had a little sleepover in here, watched some Housewives until we fell asleep.
Like we were just like crying, but Housewives were on, and then we just fell asleep.
And but luckily the whole thing with me in my old apartment, why I couldn't problem solve there was because I didn't have a support system, like, you know, like a friend that to be
Yeah.
like we're in this together, like we're crying together, we're like figuring it out together, you know?
Yeah.
But luckily this building way better than my last apartment. Exterminator came the next day. He moved the oven, he patched the holes, like it's all
The
taken care
nicest
of.
guy ever. He was
Yeah.
like, if you need anything, call me. Like, it just
So
made us
nice.
feel
A lot
better.
better. Yeah.
And since then,
it's been fine.
It's been fine.
Also, luckily, Hannah's boyfriend was coming last weekend too. So like,
I know. And
it's just like good to have like a man.
Male presence.
Yeah.
Like, it's so sad to say. And like, it's like, yeah, like womanhood, like go, like I'm sorry, but knowing that there was going to be a guy in this apartment just like made me like,
it just puts you at ease.
Put me at ease. I was like, thank God, because if anything were to happen, like my biggest fear actually is catching the mouse and not knowing what to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's scary to have like a free roaming mouse.
I think that's worse.
But I was scared of actually catching it and having to like do something with it. So I was like, if we're gonna catch a mouse, I hope it's when Steven's here.
Right.
But we haven't seen it at all. So
yeah, so far so good. Thank God. But yeah, we just had to tell you guys that because it's like we were literally talking about it.
Episode was crazy.
And then it's like a fucking course.
But speaking of adulting, we like were able to get our shit together and
we pulled it together fast. Like, which was good. I'm glad it's taken care of.
And as far as we know, we were like, oh, just another problem,
Yeah.
And that was our problem of the week.
Yes, it was.
But we
but now we're all good. Hopefully. No more fucking critters. Okay. Yeah. Next thing, I'm gonna give you guys my sugar daddy update.
I'm so mad at this girl. You have no idea, because this is what Jess does. She makes these decisions and she doesn't consult anybody, and then it's too late. But go ahead.
Yeah, so pretty much I would say the next day after we recorded the podcast, I had to block that guy.
Yeah, she just blocked him when he was offering so much. Like, he was just, I don't know, well, we don't know how much he was offering, but
yeah, it's just like I was getting fucking creeped out. Like, I couldn't do it. I don't know, I just couldn't.
Yeah, but then you said you kind of regretted it.
Well, yeah, I do wish that I like got some money, but it's okay. And guys, like, this is literally the only situation where I would deny like getting money from a man.
Yeah.
It's just because it's too creepy. Like,
yeah, I mean, it is like creepy. No one's denying that it's creepy, but there's a lot of things that we need.
I know, but I just couldn't do it. Like, well, wait, I don't know if I said this on the pod, but I did add him on Snapchat.
You didn't say it on the pod, but I knew.
Okay, yeah, I added him on Snapchat, and then he was like, hey, and I was like, hey, and then I was like, I can't do it.
That's where we draw the line.
Yeah, so then I had to block him and unmatch.
So we're gonna have to like buy a camera the old-fashioned way, I guess.
Yeah.
And
well, it'll come eventually, but I couldn't pimp myself out, guys. I couldn't do it. Maybe in another life. Yeah, I gave it a little bit of an effort.
You did.
I just couldn't do it. So yeah, that's the update. I'll let you guys know if I ever stumble upon another sugar daddy.
And hopefully she consults me first this time, because it's like you can't think about it as like a one-on-one date. Like, it's a business, like
a business endeavor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. You wanted to talk about orientation?
Yeah, so school has started, which is like horrible.
Boo.
Yeah. But I had my second year graduate school orientation, so I'm sure that a lot of people who are going to graduate school are having their orientations this week. So I just wanted to, talk a little bit about how it was. And my take on orientation is that it's pointless. I almost didn't go, because orientation, they're throwing so much information at you, and basically laying out all of your big assignments of the year, told me that I had to start looking for internships yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
so it just makes me feel so behind, even though it's like the first day. And none of the information is helpful of like, okay, first do this and then do this. It's just like, this is like everything. So
it's stressful.
it is really stressful. But being a second year, I have a little bit more knowledge of like, okay, this is what orientation does. It stresses you out. Like,
Right.
I can't imagine. Well, I can't imagine because I did it, but like, I feel bad for the first year students who are like gonna think that this is so like much work and that they're not gonna be able to do it. And like, I just think that what they don't emphasize in orientation is that you need to take things week by week. Like, you're gonna be in your classes and it's not gonna seem like this whole big thing when you break it down week by week. And I think that's what orientation misses. Also, orientation, like, it should also be about meeting people in your program
So
and
true.
like making connections and like getting resources on how to like,
yeah.
And they don't do any of that. Like, it's just crazy because we as like second years hosted a lunch for the first years, and like they look terrified, and it's like hard, it's like unnatural for them to like mingle. They don't know anyone. And it's like the faculty doesn't really do much to facilitate that. And it's like the second years are hosting the lunch. Like, what are the faculty doing? Like, you know what I mean? It's like all on us to make them feel welcome. When it's like they just joined your program. Like, you should be doing something to make them feel welcome. That was a whole another thing. Like, just the way that everything's run, I like have a problem with. Another thing is that we had a whole like separate talk about social media while like starting your career, which was crazy because I had like 3 or 4 different heads turning to me. And I was like, wait, they were like, wait, what about your podcast? And I was like, what about my podcast? Like, I just think it's crazy, like, that they expect us to not, like, I understand not posting things that you would like be embarrassed of or that are like wildly inappropriate. And
yeah, it's not like we're posting like us ripping 17 shots and like your little like kids are gonna
we're
be
just
like,
talking about our life experiences. And it's like, am I supposed to not have a personality outside of being like a school psychologist? Like, I don't understand. And then like, obviously my personal socials are all private, like whatever, but I'm not making my TikTok private. Like,
it's
this
like,
is what I enjoy
it,
doing. This is my hobby. Like, you know what I mean? This is what I enjoy doing. And like, I was like, guys, if I don't get famous, then how am I ever gonna like drop out of the school? Like, I need to keep up with it. So I just thought that like, they just, even they were talking about, everyone in my program actually had a problem with this, about how they were talking about how we're supposed to like dress and act and speak. And I'm like, it's such a generational difference between the faculty and the students that it's like, we're not judging books by their covers anymore, and where it's like, oh yeah, if she wears a t-shirt to practicum, like, she's unprofessional, she doesn't know what she's talking about. It's like, we're a little past that mentality of like focusing on what people are wearing.
If anything, I feel like the kids would be like, oh, like, she's wearing such a cool outfit.
Right, like, you kind of want to relate to the kids. If I show up to an underprivileged school district in like a pantsuit and like a blazer with like heels on, that's not relatable at all. So it's just like, that irked me. But listen, like, I think that these are things that they have to say at orientation, but actually don't play out in real life. If that makes sense. Like, none of that actually happens the way they say it happens in orientation. You kind of just like figure it out for yourself. And I think the biggest resources that you have are the people that you meet in your program, and you like all just talk about it. Because it's like, even in our student handbook, it was like, you have to wear business casual attire to class. So the first week of like baby first years, we were all wearing like business casual stuff, like every single day until we all got together and we were like, what if we just don't?
Yeah, like, why are we doing
As
this?
a collective, just decide not to.
Yeah.
And now, like, I wear this to class. Like, I wear sweatshirts and, like, it's easier to, like
normal class.
Yeah, it's easier to learn when you're comfortable.
Yeah, like.
So I just think that the biggest takeaway is to learn from the people that you're with. Yeah. And obviously use your faculty as, like, a resource, but they're a little bit out of touch with how things actually work.
Yeah, everything they say is not Bible.
Because they are not in the program. Like, you know,
right.
They teach maybe one class, but they don't know what the program is like as a whole. So you have to, like, kind of take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
that was
I
my
think
experience.
that's good advice. On the other hand, my program doesn't have orientation.
Yeah, which is just, like, it's terrible.
It's just like my program doesn't really do anything to make you feel connected to, like, the school.
Yeah, because while orientation
which
was
I don't know
horrible,
why.
like, it was nice going and seeing everyone, and we kind of hung out. We got, like, drinks after, so it's like when you don't have that, it's hard to make connections.
Right, and, like,
city.
last year my orientation was online. Like, there was no in-person option. It was just all online.
And it's like we shouldn't be doing online stuff anymore. It's just laziness at this point.
Right. So I don't know, but whatever, I guess.
I know. I mean, it is whatever because it's like you can't really do anything about it, but, like, I was gonna skip orientation. I decided not to because it still is a good, like, way to connect with people and, like, meet new people and connect with old people. So
exactly. Yeah, like, I think if my program did have orientation, I would probably think it was annoying, but, like, it would be nice to meet other people in my program, not just from, like, class.
Yeah, it takes the class out of it a little bit and, like, gives you a chance to, like, make plans and see people. So.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit more sense of community, I guess. Yeah. But it's all right.
But it is crazy to, like, see, like, full circle, like, it's a year from now, like, a year ago today. Like, as a first year, I was like, I threw up the morning of orientation because I was so nervous. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know where I was going. I sat in the corner of the room by myself. Yeah. And then I left without talking to anyone. And then it's like coming in as a second year, you, like, meet all your friends at the door. You're laughing, you're joking around. So it's like, my biggest advice is, like, just give it some time. Like, it's obviously really nerve-wracking at first, but to see where I was a year ago, like, especially if you're in a graduate program that's kind of a small cohort, then there's no way that you don't make friends within that program. So it was just kind of crazy to see, like, the progress.
The growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's time to get into the sorority topics. Also, I feel like we haven't done any, like, Boston things, like, the last 2 episodes, but we were on Long Island and then, like,
we went
school
home.
just started, so the Boston stuff will come back. We're just getting readjusted. Yeah. With our new
and also
schedules
it's like
and
we
such.
actually had so much to talk about that.
Yeah, true.
We can't even
honestly
fit these
didn't have
things
time.
in right now. So
Right. Oh yeah. Also, the viewer questions that we posted about.
Yeah.
We'll answer those next week, and also I'm gonna post it again, so
we can get more. So if you're watching this,
ask us a question.
Yeah, go to our Instagram page, say it with your chest podcast, and ask a question. Like, we'll post a story where you can ask questions.
Yeah, and it can be literally about anything. Okay, on that note, let's get into our sorority experience. So first, we're going to talk about how we realized we joined a bottom tier sorority. So let's start from the beginning. Okay. We go through recruitment. We're a little baby freshmen.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about recruitment in, like, our first episode. So if you want to, like, see how that experience was as freshmen, like, you can watch that one.
Right. Episode 1. Yeah. But yeah, I did a little bit of research before, but definitely didn't know, like, about the, like, bottom tier, top tier, like, all that stuff. And yes, that stuff does exist. There are top tier sororities and bottom tier sororities.
Yeah, if they tell you that all sororities are actually
the same, they're not.
Created equal, they're lying.
Yeah, maybe at some schools, I doubt it, but it exists. It's a real
But also,
thing.
like, it's, like, specifically to UMass, it's, like...
It's very clear which are...
It's very clear because we don't have that many.
True.
A lot of schools have, like, a million different sororities.
That is very true.
We had, like, a handful.
Right. So we so as you know, if you listen to episode 1, we both dropped out of recruitment. And then there's a thing called COB, continuous open bidding, where for most sororities, it's like if you go through the whole recruitment process, but you don't get a bid, they can give you a bid like afterwards, after recruitment's over, to like join their sorority post bid day. But for our sorority, it didn't matter if you finished recruitment all the way or not. They were just giving out bids.
Well, that should have been kind of our first red flag, is that we literally dropped out of recruitment and, like, they still wanted us.
Yeah.
So that's a little weird.
Right, but we were just little desperate baby freshmen. I remember after recruitment week, I was like devastated. I was like, that was like the worst experience ever.
Like, the thing is that, like, I wasn't sad about dropping out, and I still didn't want to join a sorority, but I, like, when you're a freshman in an out-of-state college and all of your, like, not all of your friends, because you only have, like, 2 at that point,
right?
And they want to do something, you kind of don't want to be the person left out, because then it's like, oh, like, I had a friend that was joining the sorority, COB, and so then I was like, if she makes all these new friends in the sorority, then I'm going to be, like, left out. So I have to do it too.
Yeah. And I was in the situation where I did really want to be in a sorority, and also on UMass's campus, I lived like really far away from all the other freshmen. So I was like, this is going to be like my main way to like meet other people besides class. And yeah, like at the end of the day, I really wanted to be in a sorority. Yeah. So we both went through COB and got bids, joined, and all seemed well.
Yeah, I really liked it at first because, like, obviously we met, and we met some other cool people, and
we were like going out like a decent amount through the sorority.
Just like after class to be like, do you want to like grab food and like go hang out at one of our dorm rooms? Like, that's like, to me, that was like the college experience. Like, I was excited. Like, it was nice to have those people like right away
around,
because we weren't from there. So it's like UMass is also a place where a lot of people know people because it's a Massachusetts school, and we weren't from there. So I was like,
it was a good instant way to get a group of friends, basically.
So all was well in the beginning.
Yeah. Then fast forward to spring of our freshman year. We get sent home.
Yeah.
Everything's a little quiet. Nobody knows what's going on because of COVID. Things start back up again. Fall of our sophomore year, we're still home. I think the rule at UMass was like only freshmen could be on campus during COVID. If you weren't a freshman, you had to get like off campus house. Like, it was like weird, like shit going on.
The thing is that because I had housing for my sophomore year.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I could have still lived there.
Oh.
But the restrictions that UMass was like saying was gonna happen, it's like basically you can't leave your dorm room and you can't have any visitors.
Right.
I was like, I don't think I could do that.
Yes, that was it. The restrictions were literally insane.
It was like you were basically confined to your room, and I was like, the room is like a 4x4. I couldn't do that.
Right. So we both stayed home that whole sophomore year.
Yeah.
So, in the fall, things start back up. Sorority things are online, but still like happening because they're still going to do a virtual recruitment, which I think a lot of schools did that year. So this is when we kind of realized something was up. Obviously, we didn't have a lot of time in person in the sorority. And when we were there, like, we were going to parties, like, everything seemed really normal, yada, yada, whatever. So we get this email message that we're having like a huge sorority meeting, a mandatory meeting.
The thing about sororities is that they love the word mandatory.
Right.
And that's like my least favorite word ever.
Right. So we have this mandatory sorority meeting that if you don't go to, you literally will be kicked out of the sorority.
Like immediately. No ifs,
No,
ands, or buts.
yeah,
Like you're
like
out.
you're just done if you don't go to this meeting. So I remember I was working in like a boutique store on Long Island, and I was like, I'm really sorry, but I literally have to like go downstairs and take this meeting because
Yeah.
I'll
I
be
was
kicked out of
at
my
work
sorority.
too at the store that I worked at, and I was like, I need to take an extended break.
Yeah, literally. So we get on this meeting and we hear that our sorority is being put on probation.
Yeah.
And we're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We haven't been there in a year.
Right. Like we're not even there.
Like, how can we be getting put on probation when we're not even doing anything? And I know what you're thinking. Wait, most sororities were still like partying and doing things during COVID. Not ours. Like our
No,
sorority
we
was
followed
like,
the rules, and like honestly,
yes,
our sorority was really strict about like COVID guidelines,
yeah,
but I mean, for a good reason.
right.
But like I just feel like for them it's all like optics, so it's like people were obviously still doing it in private, but it was like the posting that was really controlled.
Right.
Whereas like in other sororities they still cared about getting like new recruits, so they weren't as like secretive
Right.
with it, because it's like they want to
They
like
want it, yeah.
advertise themselves as like the fun sorority who like they party
Who's
with
still
frauds and
partying,
yeah.
So we were like, how the hell can we be on probation when we're literally not doing anything wrong? Well, we'll tell you. So basically, we got put on probation for things that didn't even happen when we were in
Right.
college.
It was like years and years before we ever decided to join this sorority, which like just was hard for us to understand because we felt bamboozled.
Yeah, like we were getting punished for things that we didn't even know existed. Like we were still in high school when these things were occurring, but our nationals had just found out about it in 2020. So we were getting punished for it. And we were like, well, we weren't even like, I didn't even know what a sorority was when this was happening. Like, how is this fair?
Right.
So basically, we get put on probation. And what that means is we can have no parties. And I guess that's basically it. But like, that's a huge part of being in a sorority.
Yeah.
Like for me, that was a really big part of
And
why I
also
joined.
you have to understand what is thought of as a party is how many is it? How many sigmas?
4
Sisters in a room together is considered a sorority event or a sorority party.
Right.
So us hanging out with our two friends could actually get us in trouble. So we like obviously still did it because it's like I'm not gonna not hang out with my friends, but you're not allowed to post anything. So I felt like I was living like in fear in this like
of getting
secret
in trouble
life for just like hanging out with my friends, which is like
it was crazy.
It was crazy and like really hard as like someone who like just missed their whole sophomore year, has no connections here, and now I could get in trouble for just hanging out with my friends. So I wasn't really cool with that.
Yeah. So this kind of was like the turning point for me where I was like, whoa, like what did I actually join?
Yeah. I think it's like that was when we were like, what did we just do?
Right. So we realized that we realized that when we got back to school junior year and things were open, our sorority wasn't going to be allowed to party. Like we couldn't really do.
And not only that, it's like, do you know how damaging it is also to like have a frat like ask you to do something and then you have to be like, no, we're on probation? It's like
very damaging.
Right. Because it's like if you haven't been in a sorority, you don't know, but like the relationship between the sororities and the frats are very important for like recruitment aspects, because like freshmen care about that. It's like they want to be able to hang out with the guys that they like, with the frats that they like to go to, and if your sorority doesn't have relationships with the frats, it affects what kind of girls you're gonna get. It just is the truth.
Yeah.
And for us to say, no, we're on probation, so we can't mix with you, that's like kind of like like you're done. Like
that's what kind of started.
There's no second chance.
Yeah, that's what started us really like getting deep down into like bottom tier territory, when it was like we can't do anything with any like other organizations.
Right.
So that pretty much freaking sucked. So junior year rolls around and we're like, this is bullshit. So what do? We throw a huge party at our house.
Oh yeah, when we first moved into our house, our college house, because like you have to understand, like freshman year we were living in dorm rooms, but we got
Right.
sent home like in March.
Right.
So we lived in a dorm room for like a semester and like a quarter, and then we were home all of sophomore year. Junior year comes around, me and Jess move into this house. Love you 250.
Yeah.
And we decided we were gonna throw a party because
our mission was, we are fixing this sorority. I was like, we cannot be in a sorority that we're paying money for and not have fun.
Yeah,
like,
we took it upon ourselves because obviously no one was gonna do it, and we had the like space to do it. And
yeah, we were like, we
needed to take control of our own lives here and our own college experience.
Right, and it's like, we're in college. Like, don't get in the way of us partying. Like, it's college.
You only have 4 years to experience it.
And we got one taken away.
So I'm not living the last 2 on probation. You know,
Right.
It just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't an option.
So we were like, okay, a lot of people have joined since we were last here.
Because they've joined virtual.
Right. Not everyone, like the people that were in it before COVID don't know the people that are in it now. So we were like, let's just throw a huge freaking party and have everyone meet each other. And yeah. So we threw a huge illegal party out at our house.
And people loved it.
Yeah, it was really fun.
People loved it, and like it was a hit.
It was definitely a hit. And actually, surprisingly, because we're gonna get into this next, me and Hannah got in a lot of trouble in the sorority, which you probably could assume from this story.
We got into a lot of trouble.
We actually didn't get in trouble for this.
This is the one thing we didn't get in trouble for, because I think everyone was like, thank God these girls are gonna like save us, and you know, like they saw the potential of what was there, and that also party like kind of was the start of like, you know, we can kind of get away with this.
Right. This party was the first inkling in our brains that we're like, okay, maybe we should just keep things a secret, but still do them. So, yeah. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Get into the next part.
I don't know if this is too far ahead, but like we never really got off probation. So this is just like our whole college experience that we did this.
We got off probation officially like second semester of our senior year.
Yeah.
So it was essential for us to have these legal parties.
Yeah.
Like for our life.
If we weren't going to change it, no one was going to change it. So we really had to take it into our own hands, like with help from obviously our friends.
Right. It wasn't just us.
Obviously. It wasn't just us, but like our group of friends, like really, like
we did some
took it
magic.
Into our own hands. Yeah,
we did some magic. All right, now we're gonna move into the stories of me and Hannah getting in trouble in the sorority and getting sent to standards.
I can't wait for this one.
Which happened to us a lot. But what I'm starting to realize is like, if you didn't get sent to standards in your sorority, like, you're not a main character.
No. It was like really funny, but it wasn't funny the first time.
The first time was not funny. The first time was definitely not funny.
Okay, I'll tell my first experience, and then Jess will tell her first experience, because like that's probably the 2 most wild things in the sorority that's ever happened to us.
Yeah.
But to tell my story, we need to go back to freshman year.
Yeah.
Rewind. Like I had just joined the sorority. I'm a new member. I'm not even, I think, was this before or after initiation?
I think it was the night of initiation or one night after.
Okay, well, either way, like, it was right around when I just got initiated into the sorority.
Like, you're babies in the sorority.
Yeah. And so we go to a frat party with I guess that was illegal too, but this is like before we really knew we were doing like illegal parties.
Yeah, this was before we were technically on probation, but going to parties like this is the reason why we got put on probation.
Right. But we had a scheduled mixer at a frat. So I go with my friends, Jess included, and like 3 other girls.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this is even bad to say, but this one girl got fucking hammered out of her mind, like, couldn't sit up straight. And also, like, yes, she's my friend, or she was my friend, but, like, I had known her for, like, a week and a half at that point. Like, you know what I mean?
We were new friends.
We were very new friends, but obviously I still, like, cared that she was, like, visibly drunk, like, she fell to the floor. And
sorry, that's like not funny.
It's like not funny, but it's like,
but it
also like I had never been in this situation before. Like, this wasn't really my high school experience, so I like was very new to this situation. But again, since these parties are kind of the reason that we got in trouble, it's a very big liability to have a girl like that who I'm just saying, like,
no, it's true.
It could be a very big liability to have a girl like that get hurt and then, like, get, like, the police involved, you know what I mean? So they were very worried about that. So the president of our sorority at the time, which, like, in our eyes was, like, you know, God. Like, you don't want to be on that girl's radar. Even though she was super nice.
She was so nice. We were still scared of her, though.
Yeah. She grabs her by the arm and drags her upstairs.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's my fucking friend. Like,
what's going on?
What do I do? So me and
wait, a point to add is that before this party, now I'm remembering, this party was during spring recruitment of our freshman year. Before this party, they were like, this frat hasn't mixed with us in blah, blah, blah months. You have to be on your best behavior. Like, it was,
like, we got warned.
Emphasized, like, best
kind of
best
like that
behaviors.
There was going to be no warnings. It was going to be like, if you're too drunk, you're out.
You're out. Yeah.
So I got worried because I was like, I don't want her to have to, like, figure out how to get home by herself.
Yeah,
like,
you're being a good friend.
Yeah, like, sorry. So me and Jess, like, we run upstairs with, like, a couple of our other friends and start asking people, like, where she is.
Right.
And we get to this door, I knock on it, and I'm like, oh, is so-and-so in there? Like, I'm looking for her. Is she okay? This senior comes busting out the door, like, literally, like, and she's shorter than me. Like, I'm 5 foot, like, 5'2". This girl is shorter than me. She's like a little, like, rat.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I really am.
Okay.
But the situation makes me so angry because it's like when seniors are, like, preying on freshmen, it gets me really upset because, like, what an easy target.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But she comes, like, storming at me and says, you don't need to know how she is. I've got it handled. Like, turn your ass around and walk out. And I'm like, this time I'm a little drunk too. So I was like, no, like, I came with her. I'm leaving with her. Like,
because I think we, like, our ride was there.
Our ride was there. I was like, is she okay?
Like, wrapping it up.
Like, was I a sweet little innocent girl? Like, no. But did I say anything bad to her? No.
And you were getting yelled at.
I was getting yelled at. I was like, and this whole sorority thing was very new to me because I don't like being told what to do, and I don't like being yelled at, and I don't like thinking that there's, like, a hierarchy.
Yeah.
When I'm just trying to make sure my friend is okay.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Like, I leave it at that. She goes, like, she's yelling at me, and she's like, leave it alone. I'm going to handle it. I got her. And I said, okay, sure. Like, whatever. We went home. We didn't really think of it again.
Yeah.
Until, like, a fucking couple of weeks later, I get an email sent to me that I've been sent to Honor Council, which is our standards process.
Right.
For conduct unbecoming of a sister.
Yikes.
Which is kind of like the worst thing you could be sent for because it's, like, basically, like, you're just a bitch. Like, you know, that's, like, the nice sorority way of saying, like, you're a bitch and, like, everyone hates you. But it said something along the lines of, like, Hannah was, like, verbally abusing me in the house. Like, and they can't even say that we were at a party because it's illegal. So I'm like, at this time, I wish I knew that because I could have been like, you're going to tell me, I'm going to tell everyone that we were at a party.
Right.
But, she basically, like, wrote on the page, like, so many lies about me, saying that I was known to bully people from my high school, which is like just crazy because I'm the only person from my high school to ever, not to ever, but that went to UMass that year. So she like has no way of even knowing that.
Yeah.
And also like she's like, I heard from people that she's like bullying. I'm like, I don't know anyone here.
Yeah,
like I have been
all
at this
lies.
school for like a couple of weeks. Like I don't know anyone. So it's just like just so many lies. And then at the end of it, it's like, do you wish to remain anonymous? And she checked off yes. And then there's a space like, why do you choose to remain anonymous? And it was like, because I'm afraid that girl will come for my neck. And it's like, if you saw me freshman year, it's like I was just this little timid girl. Like there was no way that I was coming for anyone's neck. I just couldn't even believe what I was reading. It was like the most absurd thing ever. But moving on, you go to honor council. It's like you have to dress up in badge attire, which is like kind of business casual attire.
Yeah.
Told my story to these 3 girls, like who you think it's like a trial.
Yeah, literally.
But really now looking at it from the other side, it's like these 3 girls don't really care. Like they're just girls.
Yeah.
And I actually was found not accountable. I was not held accountable for that IRF, and I never got in trouble for that. But just that whole experience was really, really traumatic for me.
Yeah.
And I was really upset by it. But I have a really good way with words, and I never get held accountable for anything. So that's kind of it. But that was like the start of my name kind of being on the radar.
All right. I'll get into my story now, which literally was like so traumatic. Our sorority, like the new member education is not really like other sororities. Like our sorority doesn't haze, like it doesn't do any of that stuff, which is great. Like great for our new members. We love that. So me, a curious little freshman, like I'm seeing what's going on at the other sororities, blah, blah, blah. I go to a frat and I'm like they're at the door, whatever, they're asking if I'm in a sorority. I'm like, yeah, I'm in blah, blah, blah sorority. They're like, oh, really? Like, I didn't even know that was a sorority. I'm like, okay, like, this is embarrassing. And they're like, well, if you're in a sorority, say the Greek alphabet. And I'm like, well, I can't because I never learned
learned it.
Like, they don't teach us the Greek alphabet. Crazy. Which is like, if you're in a Greek organization, why would you not be taught the Greek alphabet? Like, it's not like it needs to be like a recite the whole Greek alphabet right now or you're a stupid fucking bitch. Like, it could just be like, here's the Greek alphabet. Like, if you want to take it upon yourself and like learn this, go ahead. Like, here are just the resources. I didn't even know there was a Greek alphabet. Like, I'm just a little baby freshman. I don't know what's going on. So that I have that experience at the frat. So then I'm curious and I'm like asking, why don't we learn the Greek alphabet? And this girl tells me that because that's considered hazing. And then I say basically what I just said to you guys. Why is that considered hazing? Like, we're in a Greek organization, blah, 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 whatever. So that gets twisted into me, a new member, wants to haze the new members.
Yeah, because I think it was something like, well, if that's like, it's a throwaway comment of like, well, if that's considered hazing, then maybe we should haze. Like, it wasn't.
That's like that is what the girl like took it and turned it into when I was just asking a simple question of like, how is that considered hazing if like we're in a Greek organization and like
and it's like other things besides the Greek alphabet too. It's like we don't have any rituals or like things that are for new members to like make them a close like community, which is like obviously what like hazing is bad and like
we don't condone
it. Like I don't wish that we haze, but I do wish that there were nights that the new members were like put together and like did an activity or like learned about the history of the sorority and not just in these like business meetings that we had.
Yeah, because like there are ways to make a sense of community that isn't hazing.
Like a new member slumber party. Like it's just like there's so many things that could be done that are not hazing that we just didn't get to experience.
So this gets twisted into just wants to haze the new members, which let me just reiterate again, was myself. I was a new member. So of course this gets up to the pipeline of the president. And what happens? I'm sitting in chapter and I see in the minutes Jessica Price and another girl that was also there when like we were having this conversation, please stay after chapter to talk to me. This is the president saying this. And I'm like, okay, this is like really weird and like I'm really scared. And of course this happens at the beginning of chapter. So then I have to sit there for the whole hour, nervous, anxious, what's gonna happen, like whatever. So end of chapter comes. She tells me that I can't be in this position that I had anymore because I'm getting sent to standards. And I'm like, why the fuck am I getting sent to standards? Like, yeah. So I'm just, obviously I didn't say that to her, but I'm just standing there and I'm like, okay. And then I go home and I get sent this letter thing. And it essentially says that you want to haze the new members, which is like a national sorority offense. So I'm like, okay, like, am I going to get kicked out of the sorority? Like, what's going on? So I go to my meeting and they're like, we have proof, like written proof that you said you want to haze new members. And I was like, well, I never said that. Like, I literally never wrote that anywhere. And they were like, well, we know you're in a group chat and we know when you said it. I literally take out my phone.
Also, group chats are not allowed to. Because if 4 or more sisters are in a group chat, then that's technically a sorority group chat, and it needs to have an advisor in it.
Right.
So we could have gotten in trouble just for having a group chat with our friends.
Right. So apparently this girl who wanted to get me in trouble showed these people our group chat. She didn't, like, there was never a text of me saying like I want to haze people because like I'm not a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
But I guess she just showed them the group chat with all of us in it, so they assumed it was in there. So they say that they have this proof that I texted that. I literally take my phone, I go to messages, the little search thing, I search in the word haze, hazing, like everything. I'm like, hello, nothing's coming up, like, because I didn't say this, like, what's going on? But the most crazy thing was, even though I went to this meeting and they were like, we're going to see if you're like guilty or not guilty, the whole thing was a fucking waste of time because of this like thing that was a national whatever, I had to be found guilty either way. And then we got sent home, so I didn't really have to actually do anything.
Yeah, like it kind of just like got lost in the mail. Like,
which really, yeah,
we never
really
got followed up on with that.
Thank God. So that was one good outcome of COVID, honestly. So I never really got in trouble. Or I did, but I didn't have to do anything. So yeah. But then things turned around because we became on the officer board.
Yeah. Like, people at this point are probably like, why didn't you just quit? Like, you don't really seem to like this that much. But I think it was like, first of all of our friends were in it. So it was just kind of like a way for us to all be together and do things, which was fun.
Yeah.
And then, we like got nominated for officer board, so we put in applications for that to try to like change the trajectory of things.
Yeah, and I feel like we also like, I don't know, I was a big like we can't drop.
I wanted to drop.
Hannah wanted to drop, and
semester.
I was like, we can't drop, like we have to stick it through, like don't drop.
Yeah.
I was like, we just can't, like we can't.
I mean, I'm happy I didn't in the end because it's like it gave us a lot of memories, a lot of stories, but I was close to dropping.
And obviously we're like telling you guys the like juicy like bad things, but like there were a lot of really good memories and like fun stuff too, obviously.
But again, I think it's like all the people that you meet and not like the actual institution of being in a sorority. So like being in a sorority doesn't equal great friends, but great friends kind of equals like a good sorority.
Very true. So then we became on the officer board and we continued our shenanigans, honestly.
We like took over. When we got into office, we literally took over. We were like, we are changing everything.
And it was amazing because we were on the officer board with literally all of our friends.
Like our close friends. Like
so
we were
just
all
made it, like,
had positions on the board.
10 times better. Yeah. But the first thing that we did when we became on the officer board was UMass has this thing called Greek Week. I don't know if other schools do it.
They probably have like variations.
Similar, yeah.
Of
It's
Greek
basically
week.
like a field day, but it's a week long.
And every sorority is paired with a frat, or multiple sororities are paired with like multiple frats. Like,
yeah, it depends on like the numbers, sizing,
yeah.
Right. So we're a smaller sorority, so we got paired with 2 frats. One of the frats freaking hates our guts.
A lot of them hate our guts because
most of them hate our guts. Yeah, they dropped out of Greek Week because they didn't want to be our
dropped out
partners.
of the entirety of Greek Week because they were paired with us.
Yeah, so hopefully by now you're understanding the severity of like bottom tier.
It was really severe.
So us little girlies, we're like, okay, let's try to mend the relationship here.
Yeah.
We ended up winning Greek Week with the other frat that didn't drop out.
Yeah, we actually won.
So Greek Week, you get all of these shirts. Of course, after the frat that dropped out realized that we won, they wanted the team shirts because they were like, this is sick. They won Greek Week. Now looking back, like, they're fucking dicks, but whatever. In the moment,
yeah,
we were like, we gotta mend the relationship.
We were just kind of like desperate to like get back in the good graces, which I mean, like looking back on it, like I don't really give a fuck. Like we should have just been like, fuck
when
them,
you're in the moment, it's like everything is so intensified that it's like you have to do something. So of course we're on the officer board. We have access to these shirts. So what do
we have the key to the storage facility where everything is kept.
So what do we and our friends do? We get this box of shirts.
It was like a heist.
And we freaking haul ass to the frat and we knock on the door and we're like, here are the shirts you wanted. Please be our friends.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it did not work.
It did not work. I mean, like, they said thank you. They took the shirts. They were wearing the shirts.
That was the funniest part because everyone in our sorority was like, we're not giving them the shirts. We're not giving them the shirts, yada, yada, yada. We give them the shirts and then we get a text. Why do I see boys in this frat wearing the shirt?
Like, we don't get a text. It's like a group.
Our group. Yeah.
Like a group meet for the sorority. So it's not, no one really knows what we did.
We don't know.
That's crazy.
How did they get these shirts?
That's crazy.
But it was us.
But they're wearing it the next day to just kind of like be dicks about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we gave in. But we did it for the sake of the
But that's
parties.
kind of like a mystery of the sorority that's like finally revealed. Yeah, like how they got the shirts. It was
us. Okay, the next thing we did is actually like wild. I don't know why we thought
we were out of our minds.
So if you're in a sorority, you know, like you have the budget. Obviously, like it's an organization. Like you can't buy like alcohol or like cigarettes or like bad stuff with this money.
For example.
Obviously this is just hypothetical. So we decided that this other frat that we used to have like be on good terms with, actually the frat that the incident we were talking about before happened at, we decided that we were going to try to get back in their good graces too. So
we were just on an apology tour.
So we were like, okay, we're going to make this frat a goodie bag. What do we put in the goodie bag? Nips, cigarettes, pong balls, matches, like all the stuff that you're not.
Illegal shit that you could think of was like in this little goodie bag. Like we're like it's raining cigs. Like it's a raining cigs. It's crazy, and we like drop them off. These people probably looked at the bag and were like, what the fuck?
Like when we were planning this podcast yesterday, I was like, Hannah,
I can't believe
thought that we were psychopaths.
But at the time,
it seems like such a good idea.
They're gonna think we're so cool, like
yeah,
because it was kind of our way to prove that that our sorority. This is our way to like prove to the frats that our sorority wasn't like as lame or like narc as they thought that we were, like that we don't like play by the rules. Like
we were like we're
cool
kids.
We're the cool sorority, whatever. Didn't really work.
It didn't work. They happily accepted the goodie bag.
Yeah,
but
it's like these people all take our gifts, but like then it's like we try to mix with them and they still say no.
Yeah. So both of our plans didn't work, but looking back, really fucking funny that we did
hilarious.
That. Yeah. I mean, there's so many other shenanigans, but like we're probably already over time. So
I know. Let's
get into the recruitment secrets.
Okay.
So when we were on the officer board, I was recruitment director. Hannah was the new member educator.
What a duo.
Exactly. Another point of our duo. Like, You can't beat it.
Like, those are the two that really, like, work, like,
together
hand
right.
in hand, so.
So, some secrets and also just tips that we want to tell you guys. First things first, you're probably wondering about the rankings and how all of that stuff works.
I know that's what I was curious about, is like, how do certain girls get into certain sororities?
Right.
And what makes people get dropped from a sorority, and how do you get high on the list, and everything like that.
So my biggest piece of advice is, when you're filling out your Panhellenic application, make sure you take the time, you find the best picture of yourself, and you put every good quality thing you've ever done about yourself in that application. Don't do it on a random night where you're like, la-di-la, whatever, like that's what I did, but don't do that.
Same.
Make sure you put time and effort into it, because those facts and that picture is getting put in a slideshow with every other PNM that's going through recruitment that year and is being broadcasted in front of the whole sorority. And our sorority doesn't do this, but most sororities do. That is where they decide, okay, girl 200, girl 400, girl blah, 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 blah. These are our top girls that we're going for during recruitment. So
it's kind of just like predetermined, like at least the top of the top are kind of predetermined already, just based on that one picture and the couple of sentences you write about yourself.
Yes.
Which is horrible. Like,
not good, but this is the reality.
That's the way it works. If you're curious, if you're joining a sorority and you're like, how does it work?
That is what happens.
That's how it works. Essentially. And they'll deny it until they fucking turn blue in the face. Yeah. That it's about your personality, and they don't make any decisions until you have conversations, and they know who you are when you walk in.
Yeah.
And
you're talking to a specific sister for a specific reason. Like,
they match you for a reason, depending on that. I think honestly, I think that the conversation part of recruitment is only really important for those girls that land right in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, that can either make or break you, but the top and the bottom, it's like,
it's already known.
Yeah.
It's already known. So
that might be different for each sorority as well. Like, you might be a top for one sorority and a bottom for another sorority, so it's not like you're just like a bottom girl.
Right.
But for each sorority, they have their tops and bottoms.
Yes. So yeah, make sure you just take the time to do that application and really, 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 really put your best foot forward, because it's pretty much essential to what sorority you get in at the end of the day. But aside from that, then the process of how you're ranked, kind of like after you have those conversations, is literally all numbers. So if you started out from before recruitment started as
also you could talk about like the standards process in the beginning, because that's like the kind of the first thing that happens, is that
that's true.
When you're introduced to the sorority in that slideshow, the girls have an opportunity to raise a standard on you.
Yeah.
And that standard does not really need to be anything concrete. Like, unfortunately, it could be like, oh, well, my friend who is in her writing class said that she was mean to this other girl in her writing class.
Right. The standards part of recruitment for the sororities is basically like, if there's a girl you don't want in the sorority, you raise a standard on her so she doesn't get in.
Like, no matter what. Like, that girl's not getting in the sorority because a sister that's already like valued in that sorority has a problem with her.
Right.
So again, like, if you want to get into a sorority and you like bullied this girl from high school that's now in that sorority, like, you're probably not getting in. Your chance might be 0 from day one, just because you know someone that's already in the sorority.
Yeah, that's completely out of your control. There's nothing you can do about that, unfortunately. Yeah.
But then once those standards are raised, then it's a numbers game.
Yeah, exactly. After you have those conversations, it's literally all numbers. Like, unfortunately, at least at UMass, when I was recruitment director, hopefully it's different now.
Yeah, who knows? It's been a minute.
The way it shakes out in the end is Panhell says, okay, every sorority can get 15 girls, or whatever the limit is that year. Could be 15 girls, could be 50, could be 20, whatever. So let's say there's a list of 16 girls that one sorority wants. If girl 15 and girl 16 are both ranked a 2.7, but alphabetically girl 15 is above girl 16, girl 16's getting cut.
Yeah.
For no reason,
For
even
no
though
reason,
they have the same score.
Yeah.
It's just, unfortunately, her last name is lower in the alphabet than girl 15.
Yeah.
So that is something to remember. Like,
it's not you.
It really could, at the end of the day, just be because of the way the numbers were. So
yeah, like, that's what the big takeaway from this is that the process is messed up.
Yeah, like,
and that
it's really
you
unfair.
Not getting into a sorority that you wanted has no reflection on you whatsoever.
Like, you could walk away, think you had the best conversation, think it's freaking locked in, but if Panhill says this year every sorority is taking 16 girls, not 17, your girl 17, you're not getting in that sorority, which sucks.
And you have the same score as all the girl 1 through 16.
Right. So, it sucks, but unfortunately, that is the way the process is. Yeah. But they could reach out to you for COB if they're not at campus quota. Because that's the other thing. At least at UMass, I don't know if other schools have this, but we have a number of how many girls can be in each sorority. So let's say, like, every sorority needs to have 90 girls, and we can only take 10 girls from recruitment, which, again, this is so dumb, but we can only take 10 girls from recruitment. That's why sororities do COB, so they can still reach campus quota, but, like, yeah, like, if they needed extra girls because they couldn't take more from recruitment. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Listen, like, this is a lot of recruitment stuff, so it's like, if you have more questions on it, then put it in our Instagram section. If you have any questions about sororities at all.
Overall, if you're going through recruitment, have fun with the process. Like, I know it can be very stressful, and, like, I was definitely that freshman that, like, I was crushed. Like, I felt so bad after, like, the recruitment experience, but, like, I turned out fine.
But
I made
it's also
friends.
really
like,
funny, like,
you'll be okay.
Yeah, like, you think you would be, like, we would be upset, like, oh, we were in a bottom tier sorority, but, like, it's kind of like my favorite thing, like, now. Like,
yeah, like,
I think it's hilarious.
Fun, like...
It's so fun. And you know how much fun being in a sorority is when you don't have, like, the pressure to be, like, the top sorority, like, and have, like, such an image to uphold. Like, our sorority, it's like you have every type of girl. You have, like, really cool girls that, like, kind of just don't care.
Yeah, like, our sorority,
and that's, like, kind of more our vibe anyway.
Yeah, a lot of pros. Like, honestly, I don't even know if I could survive in, like, the top tier sororities, because I feel like they're just, like, insane. So yeah, even if, like, I feel like also, like, I feel so protective over, like, the little freshmen, but, like, if you get in a sorority that you don't like, during recruitment, everyone's saying, like, this is bottom tier, like, blah blah blah, like, don't listen to any of that stuff, because I was hearing that and I was like, oh my god, like, I got this sorority back and everyone's saying it's bottom tier, like, this is so embarrassing.
Like, it's a reflection on you when, like, that you're bottom tier. Like,
right, like,
it's not at all.
You are a good person. Like, you could still have so much fun in the sorority. You could meet, like, the best people you'll ever meet. It's like, don't let the chitter chatter and the gossip and all of that stuff, like, ruin your experience. Just have fun with it. Like, wherever you end up, I would say give it, like, a couple of months. If you really don't like it, you can drop very easily.
Yeah.
But you never know. You could love it. Like,
but that's the biggest difference between freshman and senior. It's like, for someone to tell you your bottom tier as a freshman, it's like world crushing, and you thought like it would be something totally different. But as a senior, you kind of learn like you're the only person that needs to think you're cool. Like,
exactly.
It does not matter if, you know, the top sorority thinks you're cool. Like, I couldn't give less of a shit. Like, I care about my friends think I'm cool and that I think I'm cool. So
yeah, and it's like, I know we made a big emphasis before on, like, party and, like, being with the frats and all of that stuff, but, like, even if you are, you'll still have, like, fun and you'll still party even if your sorority is, like, not. Like, we were on probation, we still had parties, like, you know.
Yeah, don't be afraid to take it into your own hands like we did.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I feel like I loved being in the sorority, honestly.
I mean, all of my best friends, like, it's like I could talk about how much the sorority makes me angry all day.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the best friends that I made coming out of college all from the sorority. Like, there's not one person that I like that I'm better friends with that's not in the sorority. Like, the sorority gave me all of my best friends. I mean, that's the reason that we're sitting on this bed today talking to you guys.
Literally.
And so that is worth every bad experience with it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And just don't take it too seriously. Like, have fun with it. It's literally like, at the end of the day, sororities are just made up fucking organizations that are dumb. Like,
it's
not
so
that
stupid.
serious.
It's so stupid. And I hate the whole institution of sororities. So, and like now we're like, can you believe that we cared about that? Like, the drama, or like this girl did this and this girl did that. Like, can you believe we even like cared about that? Because we're so far removed from it.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, I just think that like it's not serious. That's the bottom
serious. Line. At the end of the day, like, you're gonna
make your friends, have fun, and don't care about the rest.
Right, exactly. Go to all the events, do all the things, and just have fun, because there's never gonna be another time where you can join a sorority. That's for sure.
If you want to experience it, experience it.
Yeah, so that was our sorority experience. I know that's like doesn't have to do with post grad like at all, but
it's also rush season, so
we just wanted to get our.
I mean, I've literally never seen people online actually talking about the real stuff about sororities. It's kind of like alluded to, and I know like people like Alex Earl talk about being dropped from sororities or whatever, but people have a fear of talking about them because they're still seen as this really big, strong, like, institution. And we were nervous too, but I just think that people really need to know what they're doing before joining this. It
like
is
what you're getting yourself
huge
into.
Financial commitment. It's a huge time commitment. So I think that it's important to like let the girls know.
Yeah. So hopefully you found this helpful. Literally, if you have any more questions, want to know more about recruitment, like anything, tips, tricks, the ins and out, let us know. Because
Say It With Your Chest podcast on Instagram and at With Your Chest on TikTok.
Yeah, even like you could friggin' DM us questions, like, and we'll talk about it.
Right.
So yeah, thanks for listening or watching to another episode of Say It With Your Chest. Make sure you, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're listening, rate us, follow us, do all the things. Follow us on Instagram. Hannah just said our handle, and follow us on TikTok. She also just said that handle.
Yep.
So yeah, do all the things. Thank you guys
all the things
for listening and watching. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.